Hello, good morning. Well, whatever time of day you're at. Good day. Welcome, one and all, to another exciting adventure on the Spirit Sessions of View of the Light. Today is special. We are pre-recording, but we will be there talking in the comments when you watch this because you know our hearts are with you. I am one of your humble co-hosts, Teresa Warren. We also have Rhonda Elliott from Canada, Kim Van de Sande from the Netherlands, and Kim has a guest from somewhere else completely. Kim, tell us about your guest.
Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to be a co-host of this show. And today I have my beautiful friend and soul brother, Paul Marwood, and he's joining us from Australia, Perth. So that's why we're also pre-recording, because we're traveling to many time zones at this time. And I'm excited to share your energy, your vibration, and to co-create this beautiful conversation together. So welcome, Paul.
Thanks. Your comment, Teresa, about good day is actually absolutely perfect. That's what Australians say. They say, good day, mate. So, you well said. You tuned in on automatically on that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that. Yeah. And today we're going to dive deeper into transcending our limitations. So in this way, we're also already transcending the limitations of time and space. So, but it goes further than that, because we're diving into becoming clear on who we are and our advantages, on having support in our journey. And I'm really excited about Paul. He's in this guiding people already for 12 years. And I really love his work and his energy, and it's just his beautiful way of guiding others, and also beautiful ways of guiding yourself, as it's all about leading with example. So I want you to be able to share in ways that are beautifully aligned. Yes.
Thanks, Kim. I mean, first, thank you, each of you, Kim, Rhonda, and Therese, for letting me come on the show here. And it's an honor to be able to be here with you, meet you, talk to you, have that little conversation, and let the conversation flow wherever the conversation flows, and to help and provide hopefully some really useful pieces of information for the audience, to help them move on their journey. Because as you know, each of us, we're in service. We're here to something so much greater, and we're here to do our best on ourselves on our journey. But then as we learn, we're here to also share our light and share our gifts with others to help them on their journey too. So that, really is an important piece in all of that. So, it's such a pleasure to be here. And, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for this. And so it's an honor to be, sharing our light together.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I think every one of us, we're all being invited in this time and space to transcend our limitations. And that can be on many, many areas of our lives, where we're all being invited to grow, and with everything that is happening on the world. And yeah, so it's really about stepping into this greater version of ourselves and embracing what is happening, embracing sometimes the uncertainty, embracing the challenges we might face. But like what I love with all of us, like we're constantly searching for new ways to find, like, okay, what, with everything that is happening in my life, like how can I shift that into growth? Or what is the world, or what is my life, my soul trying to tell with me or to me? And I love the ways like you're bringing that into the world as well with your solution meditations, because you're shifting the energy from lack and limitation or fear or doubt or worry or uncertainty into, okay, this is happening, but if I take a step back, let's see what is the greater gift in this, in everything, however challenging it is. And yeah, so I think that's a beautiful starting point. Like maybe you can share a little bit about your solution meditation, but also how they guide others in their journey of, okay, this is happening, but how can I shift into the greater version of myself? Or how can this help me to overcome the limitations?
Yeah, I'd love to, Kim. Again, I guess the wonderful thing about each of us, and that's kind of, part of, what I suggested is what we talk about today is, about kind of life coaches, or having coaches for ourselves, and for most of us, we can have our guides as our coaches, either, they could be physical or non-physical, to be able to help us. And I believe we all need coaches. I have a business coach and a marketing coach, and I have a spiritual coach, and I have an accountability partner, and then I've also got my guides and everything else as well. So there's quite a team that give me information. So I'm constantly using that to grow within myself, and then help my clients, help others, and so, as part of my non-physical teams and my guides, they were talking to me about, humanity and how we need to start to let go of the old 3D model. And part of that is being in a level of limitation. You always hear people saying, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. And so the problem with that is that we, as humans, we don't really fully well, most of us aren't fully aware of the power of our thoughts, because we are divine beings. And then when we speak our thoughts, in words, that's even more powerful, and then if we write them down, that's when we'd say an even more powerful level again. So, we really, for the most part, don't truly understand how powerful we are as creators. And so whenever we're enforcing a negative thought, a negative energy, a negative, lack, whatever it may be, we are reinforcing the old 3D model, and I'm really encouraging people to start to be aware of that. There is no good or bad, right or wrong. There just is in the greater universe. It's us humans that put labels on things. There's this beautiful earth and this beautiful, duality that we live in. We have such like the schoolhouse for the soul. It's a beautiful environment for us to experience so much variety. And then as part of us putting stuff in boxes, we label this as bad and this is good. But, it's part of this letting go and moving to a more unlimited. And so my guides are talking to me about the unified field, the field of infinite possibilities, and how, they were teaching me about, from their perspective, the importance of us to start to, in a meditative way, connect with that, because it's essentially non-physical, at least in how we perceive things. And so they're encouraging me to encourage others as part of learning the solution meditations about how to be able to tap into the unified field, the field of infinite possibilities, and utilize that to be able to help us in our physical world. We need a new career, we need a new job, we need something else, we need some help, we need a partner, we need, some money, whatever it may be. And we're always needing something, and we're always trying to manifest or create something, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be alive. That's part of consciousness, because consciousness is always moving, consciousness is always creating. There's one definite is something will change. That's one thing you can always guarantee is change, whether you like it or not, but that's a guarantee, so, but the thing is we can change to a place of really tapping into who we really are, these beautiful beings that really are far more unlimited than we can even imagine. And as we start to let go of the limitation, that allows us to more gracefully move to, one would say, the 5D and beyond, because you can't be in 5D and have 3D mindset. It's a physical and it's a conscious and physical impossibility. So they're saying, well, we're going to start to teach you and the many others on the planet to help you as teachers teach the others to embody a new thought form, so that you can immerse yourself. You're not flipping backwards and forwards between 5D and 3D and 5D and 3D, because you can move to 5D and you work on that, and then you suddenly have your 3D thoughts and you're back in 3D again. So, they're helping us. We're basically creating a solution to win. They want us to win. They want us to be successful. And so the meditations are a wonderful medium/tool to easily allow us to shift our consciousness to this place. And there's a lot more happening in the background of the meditations that I don't want to go into, because it just gets you back into your mind and you're wondering stuff. It's easier to just listen to the meditation, so to speak, and expand, and some cool things. So here's some practical examples. So I used this technology when I came to Australia. They had shortages of cars here, because this was in COVID time, and you had to wait. If you wanted a new car and you wanted a particular car, you had to wait somewhere between 6 months and a year to get that car, because Australia doesn't have the resources and the pulling power like America does to say to Toyota, I want this car, or Subaru, or whatever, Ford, whatever. So we had to wait. And so when I before I came to Australia back from the United States, I used this technology, and I spent about 2.5 hours calling all sorts of different dealerships from the United States with the same result. You have to wait 6 months if you want that type of car, or a year, and so I used the technology, and then literally the next 2 phone calls that I did, one of those phone calls was actually the dealership in this little country town that I'm living in at the moment, that I would never have called logically, because the little country town just doesn't have stock and all the rest of it. And the country town had exactly the car I wanted, and it was available a week after I got here.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the part, the only caveat in the technology I'm talking about. The same thing happened with a freezer when COVID hit, and my ex-wife and I were looking at getting a freezer, and so we did the search, and no one had that sort of size freezer, and because everyone else had bought the freezers. It's just like the toilet roll scenario, and I used the same technology and literally wasted several hours looking, didn't have success, used this more unlimited aspect technology, and then literally I just did a Google search, freezer, and I just scrolled down, and I intuitively allowed my intuition to say that one, and I clicked on it. Happened to be Best Buy. The only freezer they had available was exactly the one I wanted. I bought it, called up the shop, and the shop guy said, "We haven't had freezers available for nearly a month. This must have been a glitch in our system." But the person said, I'll call the warehouse and just check it out. And he got back to me about 4 or 5 minutes later, and he says, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because it's a freezer with your name on it. It's leaving today, and you'll have it in 4 days."
I love that. Yeah.
It was basically a 3 month wait for everyone else, So
amazing. Yeah.
And it's not about stealing someone else's. It's about learning to live beyond limitation, and that happens to us with business and partners and everything else. And so, as I said, the only caveat is when we're playing in this realm, we're playing more in the realm of our soul. So we can be in that situation where outcomes or how it happens is not how we physically anticipate it. It's more along the alignment of what our soul is really moving us towards, and it could even mean a challenge to get us to where we want in that space, So there's those other little pieces that, so long as you're aware of it, you step into it with a lot of fun, but, and so, and they even go to the level with me saying, halfway through their teaching, or not that it was halfway, it was a fair way into the teaching, I'd created these meditations, and they said, now you need to learn from an earth teacher. So they said, you need to reach out, Joe Dispenza, and you need to read this book, which is Beyond Super Consciousness, whatever. So, and I went, okay, I know Joe Dispenza, and not personally, but I know of him, and I know of his work. I know it's really good. I've never done any of his classes or read any of his books, and the thing I love about our guides, our teachers, I didn't even have to go to the library or read stuff. They told me leave them the book to buy, and the book explained a whole lot of stuff from his research about the unified field and everything else. So, it's brilliant. And coming back to the coaching piece, this is what I think is so important. Most of us don't have coaches. And I think it's important that we do, because it really helps us fast track things in our lives. We can make so many mistakes along the way if we have a coach, that someone can help us. My spiritual coach, for example, he's in physical form, but he's very advanced. He said he's here to teach the teachers, the next level. So that's his role. And he's been approached by all the big names and all sorts of stuff, but he doesn't want to be there, because he doesn't want to be known as a guru or anything like that. He will do the high level stuff, but just, on the ground level, helping the teachers directly. And he said, the analogy he gave was like literally, as the light and information flows down, they teach him, he teaches me, I teach my clients, we all move up consciously. So you can imagine it like this almost horizontal waterfall, as the water, in this case, as the light flows down, the information flows down, the people move up, so it's this beautiful flow, and I encourage that for everyone, and we need them in all areas. As I say, I've got a business and a marketing coach. I've got an accountability partner, which is also another wonderful thing, because I don't know about you, but we're all busy in our lives, and we're like, be able to say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and you don't end up doing it, and then you feel bad about yourself because you haven't done it, and that makes it worse, and you're less excited about doing it because you feel bad about yourself, and then you kind of create your own little sort of downward spiral. But if you have an accountability partner, you can, I meet every Monday with my accountability partner, and we check in, and then midweek we check in again, so So, and it's like, well, if you haven't done it, why haven't you done it? You know, it's not a blame game, but it's just, I have to be accountable for why I didn't do it, you know, and just accept my own decisions and take responsibility for my decisions. Because most of us, you know, for those of us that do take close to 100% responsibility for everything in our lives, because it's us, it's our decision, you know, we do tend to flow a whole lot better because, you know, we're never really, you know, we're never really hard done by. We're never really, you know, I don't have to go to work. I go to work because I choose to go to work. You know, you could say, oh, but I got to pay the bills, but we choose to do what we do. You know, there might be some limitations and stuff that we need to, but everything is our choice. And, you know, so if I'm blaming my tools or something, how am I ever going to learn? You know, it's actually me. It's not my tools, it's me. So as I take my responsibility, how can I do it better? You know, and then I learn, and then I do it better, and then the end result is a much more beautiful end result. You know, whether it's a person or a piece of furniture. You know, so.
I love that. Yeah. And there were so many beautiful things in what you share, because it's coming back to this space of feeling inner empowerment. And I think, as you shared just at the ending, of having accountability, but also feeling, why did I make the choice to not do something or to do something, but it's becoming aware of how we are and how our systems work, because I think that we all have blind spots. So if someone mirrors us something, or someone guides us through it that already embodies that part, it's much more easier. And we get the quickening journey. But what I also love about what you shared is, like, with the solution meditation or whatever way, but it's choosing to step out of lack and contraction, and choosing to open your field for your soul, your team of light and love, whatever, the higher self, to guide and support you. And it's already the decision to step out of contraction and lack of fear or doubt, the worry, and to just relax and expand and say, okay, show me beyond what my mind thinks it needs to be. I open myself up and allow myself to be guided. And in that, beautiful things unfold. And I think that's already, it already shifts by that first initial step. And then the power of words and our thoughts and our feelings, it's understanding, like, the seeds we're daily planting with that. And I always love to, as I hear that, and as we're becoming aware of that, a beautiful tool in that is already, when you're speaking to a friend, do you feel uplifted? Does it give you energy, or do you feel contracted and drained? And then you already know which seeds you are planting. You're already becoming aware of, okay, is this uplifting me? Is this supporting me in the direction I desire? Or is this moving me back and bringing me back into energies of fear or doubt? And it's coming back in everything we do, I think, to this, I don't know how that's for all of you, but to this subtle notice of our bodies, of our emotions.
Yeah. And I think I was discussing this with my sister. Our body hears what we say.
Yes.
Our body hears what we say. And if we say we can't, then we won't. And if we say we can, it believes we can. And so we do. And
yes.
Our body hears what we say. And that's why it's
there's
important
so much
to speak the words. Speak the words as well as write them down and to make them real in the world, or make them real in ourselves or consciousness.
It is, And then it's coming back again to this space of a coach, because sometimes we have these repeating patterns, and we think, why am I still looping this? And it's understanding that it's sometimes wounded from the past, but it can also be past lifetimes, or even experiences we had in different galaxies, because we're not only in this physical, like, we have multidimensional dimensions. But I love when we're truly being vulnerable with ourselves and we notice we're in these patterns, it's okay to ask for help, because that's also a paradigm shift, I think, that may happen in this world. You being in your vulnerability is your power. You asking for help is powerful, because you're saying, okay, I'm done with this and I'm choosing a greater version of myself. And I notice I have some things. And when we try to do it all by ourselves, most of the time we keep repeating what we have been doing, and in maybe a different way, but it's very hard. And if you ask support, it's someone guiding you in a beautiful way to step forward and to
saying those words to you, so you can actually physically say them again to yourself. So you start believing what you're hearing, and then you can speak them out, and then you can believe them. And it's all that. Having a coach validates what you think may be possible.
And it's also in understanding it's a gift to you, because when, like, that's what I love, Paul, as well, in your example of even manifesting your refrigerator or your like, it's a gift to you, because when you step out of this contracted space and expand and really surrender to the unified field or the quantum field or to this greater support, it allows your life to go more effortlessly and more beautifully. And then again, you open up to, like for me, I met Paul in one of my beautiful opening ups, and it's such a gift. And Teresa and all of you, by just opening our hearts to the great, like I couldn't have imagined that I was now on Spirit Sessions or co-host. That was not something my mind would have thought. No, but it's me opening up to the field and just saying, okay, soul, lead me with love, guide me. And in that, we get to have these sacred conversations and such blessings. So yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Well said, Kim. Beautifully said.
Yes. Yeah. But I think it's really about like what has helped you, Paul, to make these conscious shifts, or when you notice you're going into an old pattern, or when you're guiding others in doing that, like practical steps people can follow. Or
well, I'm gonna just answer something first, and then I'll get directly to your question, Kim. So I think the other advantage of the piece about a coach is, and it kind of comes, it sort of answers your question as well, but I'll answer it more directly, is you can read something in a book, right? And that's cool. Mm-hmm. But for us to embody it, we kind of really need to live it, yes. And so, I don't think any of you would be too excited about going to a heart surgeon and you're lying there on the table and your heart surgeon pulls out his book and he goes, yeah, I've read this a few times and I think I know what I'm doing here. And, you'd be going, holy moly, whereas you'd rather have a heart surgeon that's done it many times and he knows it like the back of his hand, So this is where I think when we deal with another human or we deal with a coach, it doesn't have to be human, but with a coach, especially human though, we in our humanness can share the experience, because most of us attract a like vibration. So we attract people into us that are similar to us. And so we go through challenges in our lives, and then that makes us a better teacher to help someone else. Yeah. We can help them through that, and we can empathize with them, or we can say, I hear you. I felt like that when this happened to me. We can guide them through the experience, which makes that whole thing a whole lot easier. As if you had to do it by yourself, it could be a little bit troubling and a little bit chaotic, so there's that piece. And now answering your question more directly, that's the advantage too, because then you can get tips, tools from your coach that he or she knows works. And then they can, so you're not bouncing around trying this, trying that, and this works and this doesn't work. They can, if they're a good coach, they can even tune into you and choose what's going to be right for you that helps you, And again, that's kind of where the accountability comes in, because it's nice to have someone accountable, whether it's your coach or an accountability partner, to help you stay on track. So answering your question a little bit more in a slightly different aspect is, for us to embody something, we need to commit to ourselves. I mean, that's why it's, you might say generally, if you pay to see a coach, you're going to be more committed. You've got more skin in the game. And so for any of us in our humanness, we need to commit to ourselves. We need to commit to doing something, ideally daily, but at least regularly, for us to embody that new step, that new skill, that new vibration, whether it's more compassion, more love, more discipline, whatever it may be. Yeah. And so, that's again where an accountability part comes in to hold us, to help us keep going. So many of us, we've got classes these days, courses. I mean, online, thanks to COVID, we've very much moved online for everybody. And how many of you have at least 2 or 3 workshops or courses sitting on your computer at home, and have you either not done all of them or you've hardly looked at them? So most of us have 3 or 4, at least. And so the wonderful thing is we have it, but unfortunately we haven't gained the gift out of it because we haven't engaged with it, and so maybe it's not the right time for us. It's like a book that we buy that sits on a bookshelf for 4 years and then we pull it off and that's exactly what we needed in the moment. So you have to trust that. But this having sort of someone accountable, your coach, to help guide you through. So you do the course, but then I think now I believe in what I'm seeing is there's a more shift to, it's great to have the convenience of online, But to really make progress, as humans, I believe we're starting to call out to the one-on-one type things or the small groups. So it's more intimate, and there is those connections that are necessary because we are communal beings. We're not online beings, we're communal beings. And so, we need to have that connection. We need to have that support. We need to have that accountability to help. And as I get questions, it's nice to be able to just interact and ask the questions, and then your coach or whoever can help you with that. And it then, that ongoing support is what it helps a person strive to embody what they were taught in the class or the workshop, and then we're so much better because we walk away with that embodiment, and then we can take that for the rest of our lives, and that ripples out, because, we don't also fully realize that what you and I learn in a day and what we choose to change within ourselves, not only does that change our timeline, changes the rest of us for the rest of our lives, but every person and everything that we interact with for the rest of our lives, that impact flows out and ripples out into that as well. Mm-hmm. So if you have a course and you choose to interact with it and you choose to embody the goodness in that to help you be wiser, more compassionate, have more skills, have Reiki, whatever it may be, you can then help others. And as you're doing healing or doing Reiki on someone, and you change their day, you change the people they interact with, and you help them, and you may even stop cancer that they may have. You're changing their whole timeline. And so the effect is huge. And then as we move forward in our ascension process, all of these little pieces collectively come together. It's kind of like the puzzle. And most of us don't necessarily look at the big picture. We just flat out just trying to do day-to-day life, on the hamster on the hamster wheel, literally, So it's important that we do take care of ourselves and strive to go forward, but also have that awareness that we do have an impact on others. And, if we can be more efficient at how we learn and how we can then help others, that starts to make a quantum effect in humanity as we come together as a humanity. At the moment we're kept divided pretty much. And while we're kept divided, we're relatively powerless. But as we start to work together, like we're having this conversation now and we're sharing it on a podcast, as we bring our hearts together, like Heart Math, Global Coherence Initiative, people like that, the One Field, people doing experiments to make us understand that we are all connected. Mm-hmm. These are so important because we're starting to self-realize that we are much more than this physical body. We're this divine being having a physical experience. So let's have some more awareness of our divine beingness and start to tap into that and share love with our fellow partners. Let's give them a hug instead of dropping a bomb in their backyard. That's a much better way. We're all going to be so much better for that,
Exactly.
And it's understanding our individual role in changing the dynamics, in changing the collective, in changing the world around us. It starts with ourselves, and then how we approach the world with compassion and with love. And I love, as you shared as well, the embodiment piece, because that's an important thing. Like this time and space also for me, it's really about, it's not per se constantly learning new things. No, it's coming back to this essential part of who we are and discovering our inner wisdom, our inner magic, like discovering our vessel, our emotions, our feelings. And that is a deepening spiral. And accountability is important in that, because I notice as well when we're having sessions and we have this most magical experience and we can just be in this bubble of joy and excitement, but then suddenly we get challenged again. And what is then our coping mechanism? And that's sometimes something that happens very subconsciously. It's just a program when you go into fear that overdrives whatever you were doing. And then accountability is so important, because especially in those moments, it's being reminded of, okay, but you're choosing a different timeline. You're choosing to elevate, to overgrow this. And then it's someone reminding you. And I think it's important that it's this longer period. So each time something happens, you notice like, okay, and because that is true growth. It's also with a course. True growth is not, okay, I've learned the book. And now even with my book, I'm constantly reading it, learning new things. And in that, I'm embodying deeper teachings and deeper wisdom. But it's not per se in new things. No, it is in the subtle energies behind the words, or in the frequency and the vibration, or maybe one word that just catches my eye and it just keeps vibrating. And it's understanding that there are so many multidimensional codes that are coming through, but it is in the being willing to embody. And from this embodied state, we're able to share with others. But from this embodied state, or even sharing it when we're in the grocery store. Because then when we are this embodiment of love or joy, when we're standing in the grocery store, everyone gets influenced by our love and our joy. But it's also understanding that when we are in this vibration of fear, that is also what we're bringing into the collective. And it's not about judgment, but it's just about awareness. And it's about the power we hold. Again, coming back to our words, thoughts, feelings, the beginning of the conversation. Each of them hold a vibration. And it's just, I find it very amazing how we, as a beautiful vessel in this soul, can bring this change and this dynamic in beautiful ways and support. Yeah. So thank you for bringing all these codes forward, and because they really can support it. Everyone. Yes.
That's awesome. Kim, Paul, I was wondering, having a coach, is it sort of like the sensei effect too? Like, I know when you do martial arts, that when you work with a higher level person in the martial arts, that you pick up whatever they're teaching quicker, or you actually start to be able to do what they can do, and you haven't even had a clue before. I know that was in certain martial arts. Is it like the sensei effect, that all of a sudden you can get what they already know? Like there's an energy transfer, like when you send your photos to somebody else, all of a sudden they have them too. Is that kind of what happens with a coach?
The answer is yes, most definitely. I think some things will happen faster, and some things that transfer, so to speak, the sensei effect will in some instances be faster, in some instances be slower, depending on what happened and what level. But the piece that's also important to that is that as we choose to expand ourselves, the universe is very intelligent. Most people have no idea of how intelligent the universe is. It knows who we are, what we are, where we're going, everything else. And so as soon as we're ready and we open up to that and we say, give me a teacher, I need to be able to expand, that teacher will come into your life, and that teacher will help you in profound ways. So then the sensei effect has the opportunity. But the universe is not going to give you the teacher if you're not ready, because then even if the teacher appears, he or she's going to tell you stuff and you're going to go, yeah, I agree with you. And then you're going to walk out and ignore it anyway. So that's wasted their time and your time. The universe will bring people out. I mean, like the physical, spiritual teacher I have at the moment, he blows my mind, because he's breaking down a lot of the things that I thought were real that aren't real, but he can prove everything. So I was an engineer, so I have a very logical mind, but I also, have a spiritual awakening, and I'm, explore the spiritual realms and the non-physical realms and all the rest of it, and I've had many incredible non-physical experiences, but he can answer everything. So it doesn't matter what question I ask him, he can answer it. And he can answer to any level of detail that I want, and an average human can't do that, because they can't read enough books and gather enough information. And so this is the importance, as we choose to step forward, we can do that. So he's teaching me. It's going to take me many years, but he's teaching me to be able to start to open up to those sorts of things as well. And then I can be a better person to read people, for example, and then help people. You read the person, you read their dispositions, you read one would say their rays, what type of person they are, because many of us have enneagrams and love languages and personalities and all the rest of it, and astrology. And so we use those mechanisms. And this is sort of another more ancient way of doing just that. You can read the person, but you can also read who they are, how they're feeling, what they need right now, where they're going. And so, that's a beautiful part, to be able to help people at a deeper level. I think as more of us understand that there is more, Kim, you said the beautiful word awareness. As we become more aware, we're more aware of who we are, what we are, what's happening around us. And then as we increase in that awareness, we also become more aware that we're part of something so much more grand, so much more beautiful. And then we want to be in service to that. We want to help our fellow humans, help our planet, everything else, because that now becomes it's what lights us up. Our heart guides us in that direction. And even if we have a few challenges, that's okay, because the challenges are part of the learning and the growing on the journey, so we move away from that resistance, and then we start to embrace the challenges in a way, because it's okay, what can I learn from this? Because you didn't learn too much when you're on Easy Street because it was cool. You didn't have to do too much, Yeah. Unfortunately, we haven't quite changed the laws of the universe where we learn and expand even when we're having fun. Unfortunately, we tend to have our back up against the wall before we start to make some serious changes in ourselves. So it's a very long-winded answer to your question, Rhonda.
Thank you, Paul. No, that helps. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
Yeah, and I love as well, because I think growing means also stepping out of our comfort zone. So sometimes, because a lot of us, we also like to stay in our comfort zone, and then so I get that sometimes we need to get challenged to grow out of this stage, or to say, okay, now it's done. I had enough, and now I'm choosing a different timeline or a different way of living, or I'm choosing more happiness, more health, more radiance. But that is so I think that's an important key as well, and it's also understanding that it's okay, like. It's not about judgment where you are, but at one point you will feel when you're ready. And I love, as you shared, Paul, as well, like it's also you opened up to the field, and in that this beautiful guidance came on your path. But if this maybe came 10 years ago, you weren't ready. So it's also understanding that things come on your path, and then it's you being brave enough to follow your sacred yes, because that's an important key as well. Because when you maybe met this coach, and maybe your mind already had all these thoughts, okay, I'm not doing this, or I don't want to stretch, this feels uncomfortable, why does he feel this, and but then you followed your heart's guidance that knew this was guiding you into your next step. Because I think that's also an important key, that sometimes we can also feel a little bit triggered because someone is seeing us so clearly that we are being invited to grow, and that sometimes also feels uncomfortable, like your mind kicks in, and then it's coming back to our heart and the sensations in our body that know our truth, that are connected to our soul guidance, and not the ego mind guidance. And
But again, I'm 100% with you, Kim, and as you're saying that, the beauty about that piece is we start to, one would say, become transparent. We can see our weaknesses, we can see our strengths, and in that we can work with ourselves. And so I guess moving to a place of giving some tips for the audience who are watching us, taking that time, again, I honestly think I'll give some time to yourself. So many of us are so busy in the everyday business. We do so much for other people, and don't get me wrong, that's important, especially if you're a mum. You got to make the kids first, and then do the meals and look after everything else. And honestly, the truth of the matter is the women actually really pretty much do everything. The man really thinks he's the boss, but he isn't. The divine feminine is way more powerful than the divine masculine. But in all of those duties, give yourself some time, whether it means getting up a few minutes earlier in the morning, whatever. It's so important to take those few minutes. If you have a journal, write down, do some sort of just free flow writing, ask yourself questions. I'm a big fan of meditation, and meditation has so many positive, scientifically proven facts of everything, whether it's from stopping cancer or you name it, lowering cortisol, health, mental health, physical health, everything. But in a spiritual realm, meditation is still, I believe, one of the best tools to help us start to expand to the greater aspect of ourselves. It helps us open up. In a way, it's helping us channel, whatever words you want to use in that area. We are all capable of doing this. And people say, I can't meditate. Well, yes, you can. You don't have to sit on a mountaintop cross-legged and have zero thoughts for 3 days straight. You can do a walking meditation. You can allow your mind to just be focused on one thing. It doesn't have to be quiet. And you can do like a walking meditation or things like that where you're engaged. Guided meditations are great. You just listen to the person that's guiding you. You can allow that to help you focus your concentration. Then you can be in that space of meditation. And then in that space, you're allowing, even that your mind is not meant to go to quiet zero space. Your mind in meditation actually goes to supercomputer space, and you open up to the downflow of the information and the light from your soul, from your essence, from your guides, whatever it may be. So give yourself some time each day. If you're happy to try meditation, try and find something that works for you, guided, walking, whatever it may be. All of us that are on this call here today, I'm sure we can all help relevant people, about finding a way that works for them, and allow yourself to be opening up. That'll increase your awareness of yourself, your awareness of others. You can act differently. You can be in a better space. When someone says something to me now, I'm in a much lesser place of reaction. I'm more in a place of compassion. What can I learn from what this person is saying? It might be pushing my buttons, and I might be feeling annoyed or upset at that moment in time, but that's more of an inspiration for me to say, okay, well, instead of reacting and getting annoyed, angry, pissed off, silent, whatever, what can I learn from this? What do I need to do to sand my button down so they can't push it next time? What is it within me that still needs some further work? And of course, when we have relationships, that's the best way to do that, because your partner's going to push your buttons. They help highlight to you exactly what you need to work on, And so if you want to have growth, as a soul, come to planet Earth. And then if you really want to accelerate that, jump on the ladder of the snakes and ladders and zoom up. You're drawn into a relationship because that person is going to push you and really help you grow, but it's in that time that you're quiet. It allows the awareness. Then when they push your buttons, you're more aware of how you are, what you're feeling, and how can I do this differently? What is it that I need to do? Can I love myself? Can I forgive myself? Can I give myself a pat on the back for all the good things I've done today? And it's that quiet contemplation within yourself that illumination starts to come in. You start to have more wisdom. You start to have more knowingness. You don't have to read a book. The universe can teach you way more than the book can teach you. Books are great, but the universe can teach you 1 billion times more than that. Internally, the universe is already within us. The information can flow, the wisdom can flow, and then we can have deeper understandings and have more enlightened experiences, wonderful experiences. So
that's awesome, Paul.
I'm feeling a shift right now. Can you guys feel that in his voice and then
my whole body? That's what I was just going to say. Paul, tell us a little bit about how people can find you and find your meditations and maybe find you as a coach if all the timelines align. So tell us a little bit about your and I know you've given the audience and you'll be able to find that link in the information, but your free gift of some solution meditations as well.
Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. My name's Paul Marwood. There's the link that you put up, Rhonda. Thank you so much. Just create that. Click on that link, or it'll be there so that you can just type it out. Click on it. It'll take you to a landing page that you just put your details in. You can get access to the solution meditations, and play with that. We've got to be a kid. We've got to be fun to play, because when we play, we can go so much further. Don't get too serious about it. Have fun, have play. My name's Paul Marwood, so you just type in paulmarwood.com. Will take you to my website as well, so you can easily reach me that way as well. And just keep a light heart. The people that live long lives are generally people that have had support, had a beautiful family. They've drunk wine. Sometimes they've smoked and all the rest of it, but they've been happy. And the mind is very, very powerful. And when you are happy, that's some of the best medicine we can ever have, so we can have 10 minutes of happy in the day and maybe have a really challenging rest of the day. But that 10 minutes of happy at the beginning can quite often offset the effect and everything else of that other part, The body is a very powerful vehicle. And if we love it and treat it with care, it will serve us in incredible ways. Yeah. And so...
Teresa, before Kim, do you have any more questions before?
No, maybe Teresa can go. Yes,
Teresa, you can go in. Teresa's writing her notes. I love Teresa, always keeps notes.
Okay, here's my takeaway before I get to those really hard questions. My takeaway is transcending limitation takes teamwork. Okay, so we need to be willing and allow for that. It's also important to know ourselves and our impact with others around us, and to be able to see the big picture and where we are in it, and to find time for yourself each day, and self-love and happiness. So that was my takeaway.
That's why Teresa gets up at 4 a.m. and I get up at 5 a.m. I think that's pretty much the reason, right, Teresa?
Yeah, 2:30 a.m. is when I get up, but yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway.
The beauty about that, while most of us are kind of rolling our eyes going, holy moly, you're in this time of this consciousness is at rest, at sleep. If you want to do your spiritual work, then what a beautiful place to do it, because you can be in that space for yourself. The influence of the collective on you is peaceful. You're not getting the chaos influence on you that you would during the day at 12 o'clock, So there's gold in everything. Whatever we do, you can always find the gold.
Love
that.
I love that. Yes.
And well said, Teresa. I thought your takeaways were brilliant, and I love that you do that, because then that allows us to hear it a second time, and so we can then reflect on that, and it sinks in a little bit more.
Thank you. Yeah, it helps me learn to write it down when I'm listening. So my thing.
I love that.
Are you ready for the hard questions now?
Okay.
The first question is, do you find yourself working with any crystal, or do you have any favorites or gemstone?
I do. I've got quite a few little crystals here along the side of where I am right here, and so I have nice rose quartz here. I'm actually wearing this. This is actually a mathematical mala. So most of you probably wear the malas that have 108 beads on them for malas. This is actually I don't know the origins of this, but it has very, very long way back origins. I need to do the research of it, but they're actually created in a specific way that's actually mathematical. So there's certain patterns. So I'm going the wrong way. So there's certain groups of 2s and 4s and 3s and everything else, and this pattern amplifies the effect of, in this case, the answer to your question is Super 7. I love Super 7 crystals. I do a lot with many. There's some onyx here to help me ground. Sorry, what were we saying, Rhonda? Please go ahead.
Oh, I have a Super 7 on.
Go team.
Yeah, go team. Yeah.
So, the thing about crystals is they have such a wonderful influence on us. A point I hope I don't destroy anyone's sort of dreams about this, but the difference with crystals is they hold a constant vibration, so they can influence us. They don't have an astral field like we do, so they have inanimate consciousness. We have, one would say, a higher level of animate consciousness, so they don't have an astral body. They don't have emotions and stuff. We have our happy, sad, good, bads, but they do provide a beautiful, constant vibration that can help us in various ways. And the Super 7 is a combination of 7 different ones, so therefore we can kind of cheat and get a whole lot more benefits out of just having the one stone. Whereas onyx is, for example, is a little bit, I wouldn't say limited, it's just more focused in what it is that it can help us with. So there you go. Teresa's got 2s. What have you got there, Teresa?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I've never heard of a Super 7, so I'm going to look it up.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's also
Thank
called
you for bringing this in.
Melody stone is another name for it, I believe, or coxonite.
Oh, really? It's the same?
Yeah, it has a couple.
Yeah.
It has a few names to it, but yeah, Super 7.
And your mala that you have, our one of our other co-hosts, Marla Torres, she makes malas just like that has those extra loops in them at places. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So
it makes it much more powerful. Honestly, it really does. I've worn malas for many years, and probably about 4 or 5 years ago, this came in as part of some Kundalini yoga teachers and circles. We were in spiritual circles, and that we were shown this, and so, and as I said, I actually made this. I have the pattern, and you can just sit down and make it. And so you can get the pattern and make it yourself, but or buy them, whatever it may be. Thanks, Teresa. That's cool. It's interesting to hear that. See, it's not, we all have that connection.
Yeah, beautiful.
Interesting.
Now, our next question is another connection a lot of people have is through music. And another way to get to know our guest is to find out the music things. So what we're asking is one kind of like, what is your go-to song? Or kind of like the theme of your life. You know, there's a song that's like, yeah, that song fits me or something. And so you're walking out on stage and they're playing your song. What is it?
Well, you know, I just sort of thrown something up in the chat there. I love a lot of music. I think probably the only music I tend to steer away from is heavy metal, but everything else I really love, whether it's opera or, you know, you name it, pop, rock, you know, the whole lot. I love a lot of chanting music. They're doing Kundalini yoga for many years. There's a lot of stuff with that. The band here, Simrit, it's actually the lady's name, but it's the band's name as well, Simrit. She has a song called Guru Ramdas. I put a little link in there to Spotify, so maybe when people look at this, hopefully they can see that and listen to it as well. I find it is a very moving song. I'm not so sure if it would be the ideal song to go up on site if I'm jumping up on stage, you know, because people, you know, that's more of a pump up in our astral bodies, whereas this is a song that's has a high likelihood that it'll actually bring tears to your eyes, you know, because it's actually, it's moving you. It's a vibration that brings you in that moment in our busyness of our lives to a deeper connection with your soul. You're drawn to the essence of thinking about your soul. You know, who am I? What am I? You know, and as I say, you know, feel free, listen to the thing and pop it in the comments in the podcast where we're going to go. You know, I'd love to hear what other people's thoughts are in that piece. You know, and it's available anywhere, Amazon, Spotify, you name it. But it's called Guru Ramdas by Simrit. It's the live version is the better one, honestly. She's done one on an album that's not live, it's in the studio, and there's no one's live. The live one has that live energy as well. So, which is the link that I put in there on Spotify.
Ooh, awesome! Thank you for that. That'd be fun to check out.
I will add the link in the comment box below, so people can find it. Yes.
Awesome. So now for the last question of the day is sort of a soft disclosure, you know, if you feel like it or not. Have you ever seen a UFO or had any extra dimensional contact? How's that go? Right, Rhonda? How's it go?
Yeah. Have you seen a UFO? That's the quick way.
I've had 12 years plus of channeling non-physical beings and a High Council of Orion, Arcturians. I have physically been on a mountaintop and in the early days and said, okay, you guys, you've come forward, you're teaching me. I've been on your ships in an etheric form, but in my physical body, as an engineer, I need some proof. Show yourself to me. And two of the ships appeared as two very bright lights, and they moved across the horizon horizontally. They didn't do any fancy darting movements like quite often we have, but they moved across the horizon so fast. There is nothing that could have done that speed that wouldn't have been making sonic booms and all sorts of other things. These were completely silent. They moved across and then disappeared. So we know, okay,
something you could believe.
Yeah. You know,
something you of proof. Awesome.
So I've had physical and non-physical experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, because sometimes the physical human just needs that flash in the sky that, yeah, I know you're here. Where are you? Like, show me or whatever. Yeah.
And I wish that for everyone, because we're on a bigger universe. We're not just the only ones here.
And I think you did exactly what they need to have permission, and for you to open up that channel is to say, show me. Yeah. And if you don't say it out loud, or if you don't physically say it out loud, then I don't think it's a stronger connection when you say it. And
yeah. Or reach out, do the CE5 with Stephen Greer. You know, he does methods too.
So, yeah, Rhonda's good at that. Yeah.
I do that. So awesome. Okay. So thank you so much, Paul. Kim, have you got some final words before we, end this wonderful chat?
No, just thank you to everyone tuning in, and Paul for sharing your wisdom, your light, and Teresa and Rhonda as well. And I think it's beautiful. It feels like a complete circle. Rhonda, you sharing as well, and Paul, the power of words. So it's coming back to the original start of the conversation. Also in that, it's the power of word that gives the openness and that is choosing a direction. So I would say to everyone, become aware of what you're manifesting into the world and use it in a way that brings you excitement and joy and uplifts you in beautiful ways. So I just want to thank everyone for taking your time to tune in and connect. And
And maybe find a coach to help you give the power of words.
Yes.
Help you
yes.
express yourself better. Thank you so much again, Paul. And stick around after, and we'll see you guys next week. And thanks for being here. And remember to share this out and check us out on YouTube and on our podcast. Thanks.
Love and blessings.
And we'll get that started. Thank you.